My name's Jayne, and this is Nitzan. We're both at eBay. I'm a director of product at eBay, and Nitzan is our chief AI officer, and our first chief AI officer. So we're going to get a bit into how he has been able to get there. We're also going to talk a lot about our failures too in AI, and not from a bad perspective, but just I think some things that might resonate with the audience around biasness, and hopefully to help you all as you venture into AI. And firstly, I do want to say thank you to Lesbians Who Tech. I want to say thank you to Leanne. About 6 months ago, I was in an outpatient program. I didn't know what the day was, what the month was. I suffer from bipolar depression, and so Ashlyn Harris, when she was talking, really resonated with me. And so I hope that all of you are taking care of yourself, and we can just have a nice casual conversation about AI. Nitzan.
Yes.
Thank
you for having me.
Well, thank you for bringing your shoe game. You knew you were going to be with a bunch of lesbians, so you're like, I'm going to wear the best shoes.
So don't tell anyone, but they didn't have them on eBay, so I bought them on Etsy, but don't tell anyone.
I won't say anything. Why do we have a chief AI officer? Tell me about this.
So I think the role may not always be around, but during this transition period where AI is moving from kind of a back office R&D function into real products, real experiences, real tooling, real impact, it's important to pull together the science, the engineering, the product, the design, all into a cohesive strategy. So that would be my answer.
What kind of people are on your team? Like, what's the background? What do you look for? I'm sure a lot of people in this audience may want to get into an AI function, whether it's within their own company or even looking at roles with AI. So like, what kind of background do you look at?
So obviously we have the researchers, the applied researchers and the machine learning engineers. So these folks have been working in AI typically from college on. But the profile has really evolved. Now we have also product managers that are really focused on AI first experiences, and they are, I'd say, often coming from a more diverse background of work experiences. And we have designers now. We have a whole AI design team that's focused, again, on how do you reimagine the UI now that we can do so much more with AI. And of course, we have many different software engineers, from mobile developers, back-end developers, etc. So I'd say it's a mini representation of what we have at eBay as a whole.
And you talked a bit too about the product managers. My team, we work with Nitzan's team often on product collaboration using AI. Can you talk a little bit about some of the accelerations that AI has done for eBay, and then also maybe you got into a little bit around the Shop My Look, which I think is a great example of kind of how nascent AI still is, and also the biasness around AI. So I think let's start first with how your team helps accelerate my team's roadmap and experiences, and how maybe the product managers in the audience can accelerate their innovation through AI. And then I want to get into some of the learnings that you've had rolling out some of these AI experiences.
So absolutely. What foundation models like large language models, and now large multimodal models as well, and some of the other capabilities in computer vision, etc., have really accelerated for us is the ability to democratize the use of AI and access to AI, both experimentation and discovery as well as development. So I think the main way in which we've accelerated development across the company has been by standing up the platform and infrastructure that allows actually anyone, including product managers and software engineers and folks who really don't need to worry too much about what's going on underneath and can focus on the consumer experience in an almost code-free way, especially in the pre-production environment. So we have a lot more software developers, product managers, designers, really experimenting, testing out different ideas that they have with, I would say, almost point and click, including even fine-tuning. So we have our fine-tuning as a service UI, so you too can go and bring your own data and fine-tune a large language model to your specific use case and see how it performs.
Yeah, we've used it's really helped accelerate my team so that we can be more strategic, just operationally even. And then I want to get into some of the external experiences for our customers and give us some learnings, give us some things that your teams are really proud of. And then I'd love to talk about some of the ethics and the biasness that has come up recently now that AI is expanding in terms of all the applications that we can use it for. So can you talk a little bit about some quick wins, some examples of some great stuff, and then maybe just some surprises or things that you've had to kind of wrestle with from an ethical perspective?
Yeah, so I don't know that we've had pretty quick wins. So we were probably one of the first to roll out an LLM-powered feature at the scale of hundreds of millions of users and maybe 100 million transactions a day for our listing generation, our automatic listing, especially description generation. We did that, I want to say it's probably been about a year and a half now since we rolled that out, so that was one of the early forays. But the only reason we were able to do that in maybe about 6 weeks from conception to release, and you know at eBay or any company this size, 6 weeks is very quick, is because we did it together with our sellers. We brought them in from the very beginning, user research focus groups, but then even in our launch, we were transparent about the fact that we might get this wrong and mess up, and we did sometimes, and asked for their forgiveness ahead of time, so to speak, so that they helped us with feedback as we were rolling this out. And this is going to be true for a while. These technologies are still, in many cases, very experimental and early, and things are going to go wrong. The best thing you can do is be transparent with your customers. I can share an example of things going wrong, if that's good.
Yeah, please do.
So for our pre-loved fashion focus, which has been a big area for us, we've been rolling out a feature called Shop the Look. By the way, unlike most gays, I hate the fact that I can see myself on this monitor, but I'll live with it. It's very distracting. So the Shop the Look feature is, as you can imagine, allows you to look at different photography, see a look that you like, and then we recommend inventory that kind of is based on that style, like boho chic or whatever other sort of hundreds of styles that exist. Wow, they turned off the monitor. Thank you. Whoever did that, thank you.
I can still see you over there. So
I don't need to look. So we started with off-the-shelf open source and then kind of did continued pre-training for image generation. And we started out with women's apparel, just because you need to start somewhere. And what we saw early on is that the model that we trained was sexist and kind of racist and sort of misogynistic, because it was trained on the internet, and the internet, isn't necessarily always the representation that we'd like to see. So it was generating the female models it would generate were always tall, skinny, wearing very skimpy sort of outfits, even if it really didn't make sense in certain poses. It's because the models were trained on fashion photography and from the internet, and overwhelmingly so, that photography is not necessarily the representation we want. They were also all white and et cetera, et cetera. So the nice thing about working...
how did we fix that? How did we identify that? And then how do you go about fixing something like that?
So we identified it by generating, like, I want to say 10,000 images and sending it to people to review and score it across a whole bunch of dimensions. And it became very apparent. Honestly, it was so bad that just looking at it, I could tell. But we made it more systematic. And then you start fine-tuning the model based on the sort of looks and the distribution of looks that you want. The problem is that it's not our head of responsible AI, and I had many conversations about this, it's kind of gray. Like, what is the right answer? What should, I mean, I don't know. One designer, their opinion was, have it look like the customer. I'm like, well, that's kind of creepy. Like, if I come on eBay and suddenly it's my body type, like, that's a little weird. So what is the right answer? What is the right distribution, etc.? It's kind of gray. And what we really needed to do, again, is a lot of user research, but also test and learn and iterate and be very transparent about the fact that we're still figuring it out. I'm glad that the feedback we've been getting after launching it at scale has been broadly very positive, but had we not taken the time, had we just launched that first version, I think we would have been in some trouble. You asked me why we have a chief AI officer. Part of the job is also, putting the brakes on some things that teams can be super eager to launch, but you kind of need to do it right.
Do you feel a responsibility for that? Like, as chief AI officer, the responsibility of how, I mean, you're building, you got a lot of power right now, but you're building the foundation of AI products to come for like decades probably. So like, what kind of responsibility do you feel on the ethics of that, on like how you think about prioritizing and balancing speed to market, and also like, well, we're playing a long game with AI.
Yeah, so in some of the other venues, I'm a little bit more salesy about eBay, but I feel like, we're more with our community now.
This is all
so
friends and family.
I can't really, I'm too cynical to try to do that here. Instead, I'll just kind of lay it out, which is, at the end of the day, it's important that people making these decisions, that they're incentivized towards making the right decisions. So if someone in my position was purely incentivized on how fast you roll things out, if I was only rewarded based on that, then that's not a great thing. The reality is that if we have an incident that is upsetting to customers, or bad press, or bad for investors, or any of the other things, that would be a failure. That's the part of the definition of my job, is that would be a failure. So the incentive is built in for me to do the right thing. Now, there's always that tension between pressure to deliver and speed of delivery and doing the right thing. I think the best you can do is just admit that we're gonna make mistakes and try to do that as transparently as possible.
Yeah, I like the incentivization part, especially if it's, maybe you're not the chief AI officer, but you should know what your chief AI officer is incentivized on. And also, if you're going into it, think about that too.
Did you do the mandatory responsible AI training yet?
I do all the mandatory trainings at eBay. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm always on time, and I do them.
There's 4 sessions. Only one of them has happened. So what you'll see is we're trying to incentivize everyone across the company to focus on delivering the right experience, not just delivering any experience.
Yes, I actually have signed up for the ethics one, so I'm doing that when I get back from New York. I want to switch gears quickly before our time is up. Your AI has been in your title since 2019, and if you look at like Google Trends, you were at the long tail before it became indexed to 100. What did you see that people didn't see? Like, how did you get into AI? Like, you must have saw something out there that you're like, yeah, I'm gonna make that into a career path for me.
Do you want the real answer or the cool answer?
The answer for this venue.
So the cool answer would be, yes, I'm visionary. I knew that this was coming. The reality is that I had no idea. I just, this is what I was interested in. And so I happened to luck out in being interested in an area that ended up materializing as having major impact within my, I suppose, generation or my time in this role. But I think if you try to over-index too much on calculating, like what would, especially now, people ask me all the time, what should my child study in college? What, right? Because jobs are going away with AI, etc. Should they do software engineering? Should they do this? And it's so hard to predict. It's like impossible to predict. What is true is that if they do something just in a calculated move, they're probably not going to be very happy. So I still say focus on what you love doing, and you'll figure out the niche with that skill set. Yeah,
you took it to my next kind of question around, is AI going to take my job? Is my job future-proof? Do I need to know how to leverage AI, whether I'm a content creator or a product manager or in growth marketing or engineer?
Yeah.
What is the perception?
Yes, and yes. We're standing up an AI Academy next year for all employees. We're going to have some tailored tracks for different roles. I do think everyone should obviously have some basic AI literacy, but more interestingly, find specific ways in which AI can be applied in your area and learn a few tricks of the trade. Nowadays, you really can do so much without even getting too technical, and that will help you stay in line with the evolution of whatever role you might be in. You see this even with content creators, even with artists and directors and musicians, etc. So I think it's just going to be something that all of us are using.
Don't get mad, just embrace it, lean in.
Oh yeah, you don't need to get mad. The good thing about AI is that it has no, it's not competing with you in any way. Like it's not actually, it has no motivations, it has no hidden motivations or hidden agendas. So make it your friend.
I love that. We probably have time for about 2 more questions. I want to make sure people can take away something from this. I mean, you're a wealth of knowledge, so no shade. But take away from something from this of like, we're not selling anything here. We're up here because we're part of the community, and we just want to make sure we show representation that there's gay people in AI. Yay. Yeah. And I think
not enough, but
not enough.
some,
and
yeah.
I was going to go there.
It is a little weird.
Is that? I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like there's community in AI. Do you feel like this crowd has, like, where, if they were to leave the venue, are they going online? Are they connecting on Discord? Where does someone go and find community with AI people? Like, if I want to just go and shoot the shit, like.
Yeah. If you, honestly, any of the social platforms has a whole variety of AI channels that are interesting and meetups, etc. I think there's no lack of that, but for some reason, all of the roles I've had in AI, I've struggled with the fact that there are no gays and there are very few women. I don't know why. Now, I'm sure that has many factors to it that are true about technology and engineering and science in general, but we need more women, more gays, more diversity in general.
Great, let's do it. Last question. What do you think about this event? This is your first lesbian in tech event. You were worried about your shoes. You also said, Jayne, I'm not a lesbian. You don't have to be at this event. So how are you enjoying this, and how can people keep up with what you do? Do you have a blog? Do you have a Tumblr? Like,
Is that even a thing still, Tumblr?
I had one. I hope no one Googles me.
I don't think there is. Yeah, we have our tech blog on Medium. By the way, I should have said this. Medium that's probably actually the best place to find AI community and different topics. So I would check out Medium. In terms of how I find this has to be the coolest setting for an event like this that I've ever been at, that I've ever spoken at. I love that it's happening in New York too. We don't have enough in New York. There's too much Bay Area. No offense to people from the Bay Area, but New York is better.
And that's all the time we have, everyone. Goodbye. Bay Area. We're not going to get into this fight.
We're not getting into this fight, but you have to admit, this is super cool. But what I loved about it, I was coming up in the elevator, and there were two women riding up the elevator who didn't know each other, but just started chit-chatting in a very convivial way. There's something about combining a professional event with community that brings people together in a different way. Guard is down. It's more socially interactive. So I love it. We need. Is there a gays who tech equivalent? No, right?
I don't know. Is there?
I don't think so. I feel like. Well, thank you for including me.
How about gays in AI?
Yes.
That
would be good.
There, let's
All
do
right.
it.
If anyone here is interested in a gays in AI in New York City, come talk to me. I want to start that.
All right. There you go. New subculture started here in New York City. Gays in AI. I'll start the chapter in San Francisco. I'm in.
Cool.
Thank you all for your time. I know that you all are extremely busy, and to hear us talk. And again, thanks for my first time speaking again. Since the stuff I've been going through really means a lot to me. So I see you, and I hope that you all have a great rest of your summit.
Thank you.